Okay, so Embark Studios just released a pretty lengthy article about how wipes or resets are going to function in Arc Raiders. This is a huge topic for extraction shooters, and they're trying to do something a little bit different. I'm very keen to see how this plays out, and we'll read it together, and I'll give you my thoughts as we go through it. But before doing so, big thanks to anyone who watched the Did Streamers Ruin Video Gaming. This was a lengthy video essay that people really enjoyed and subscribed because they saw it. So don't worry, I do have more of these video essays coming. One is currently with editing right now and will be releasing pretty soon. But in the meantime, I do have to feed the YouTube algorithm, and I really enjoyed Arc Raiders, so let's go with this. Okay, so this is called Expedition Project, October 9th, 2025. Hello all. I am Virgil, the design director for Arc Raiders. I'd like to spend a bit of time talking about a topic that is important to many players familiar with games like Arc, extraction shooters. This being the subject of progression wipes, or as we refer to it, the Expedition Project. For those who are not familiar with wipes or resets, what happens in extraction shooters is you build up loot and probably form a meta like this is the best M4, this is the best gun, this is a great shotgun. With Arc Raiders, you know, you have different loot levels like purple gear, purple shotguns, purple shields. So what happens after a while, if you join Arc Raiders late to the party and you're always versing people with like high level gear, it can be very frustrated. Previous extraction shooters try to solve this issue and keep the game fresh and reset the economies and basically reset your player progress, remove everything from your stash and you start over again. A lot of people are going to say that sounds awful. Often in these kind of games, your best play time is usually just after a wipe because everyone's got rubbish gear and it's actually really fun. So they want to do something a little bit different. Let's have a look. Previously, the question of how we will handle resets or wipes has come up. Until now, the answer has been that currently we do not intend to do mandatory wipes, mandatory being the key word there. These words were chosen carefully as we don't intend to have mandatory wipes. However, as some have guessed, we do have voluntary reset mechanic. Okay. Just to make it clear, we absolutely see the benefits of a global wipe provides. Veteran players can experience the game fresh, the economy is reset to the baseline, and all players have about the same level of capabilities, at least for a little while. Exactly, that's the whole point of doing resets. However, one thing a mandatory wipe does not do is respect the investment of those players who do not have as much time to play overall. If you are new to extraction shooters, you're about to learn how unfair these kind of games can be. And when you watch a streamer, a complete degenerate, play the game for 8 hours a day and race to get some of the best gear and then one tap you, you can feel pretty cheated, right? And so they're kind of acknowledging that here, that not everyone has time to just grind out the game, which is great, which is what I talked about in my Streamers Ruined Games. So as we've done with several other mechanics, before mimicking other established mechanics, we'd like to try our own method. So rather just forcing a wipe, to doing something different. Ideally to the end that the best suits Arc Raiders and a large majority of players. Okay, what you got? Expedition Project. Which brings us to the Expedition Project. The tunnel networks connected to Speranza are vast but largely unexplored and inaccessible. Most survivors stay within their settlements, but like the raiders who dare venture topside, there are those who dare venture even further. Once the Rust Belt has given all it can offer, some raiders can choose to set out beyond the borders of what they know, and as of now, this has always been a one-way trip. In the full game, players will have access to a feature called projects. Now I'm going to come back to this, whether this is just lore or this is implying there's actually a separate map. Once the Rust Belt has offered everything they can offer, once the Rust Belt has given all it can offer, some raiders choose to set out beyond the borders of what they know. As of now, this has always been a one-way trip. Let's have a look. In the full game, players will have access to a feature called projects. At level 20, the first major project players will have access to, at level 20, the first major project players will have access to is the Expedition Project. Okay, so in general, they're called projects. The first one you're going to see is called the Expedition Project. Okay, at level 20. Upon completion, this project makes a character reset available. If a player completes a reset, they will be able to do so again so long as they complete another of these projects. Okay, so you complete the project, and the first one's going to be called Expedition Project, and that's going to let you then click a button or whatever and reset your character. a voluntary reset of your character. And I guess if you then do another project, you can reset your character again. The expedition project will operate on a repeating cycle of roughly 8 weeks. During the course of these 8 weeks, players can contribute toward and make progress on their expedition project, which will overall be somewhat large time investment. Okay. At the start of the 8th week, the ability to finalize the project will become available and will remain available for that entire week. If a player has fulfilled all the necessary stages of the project, they'll be able to commit to completing the expedition during this period. Should a player's project not be ready during the window to complete the expedition project, their progress will be kept, allowing them to continue working on the project until the next finalization window. I kind of like that because you're about to see what the rewards are, and I definitely could see the same argument being used as well. I don't have all the time, but some of these rewards look pretty cool. Like, I want to keep, like, you've just added something else to grind, right? You've added another thing is suited to degenerate streamers that can grind 8 hours a day. But, okay, cool. The fear of missing out is not going to be there because the project's going to stay and you can keep your progress. Be interesting to see if they add more projects that eventually expire. Probably not. And I believe their battle pass system is a bit like Helldivers, so I'm imagining that's not going to expire either. So it's something you can just kind of work away on, which I like. Other projects may be added over time as a battle, as part of updates, holidays, and other events. These will range in scale and reward structure. Okay. So you're about to see this little video here, and I'll show it for you. So this is their expedition, or the expedition project. You're going to click on it, and you'll see that there is a bunch of materials that you have to commit. My big head's in the way. Metal parts, rubber parts, plastic parts, steel brick. These are all, like, obviously this is step 1, I think. Yeah, found 1 out of 6. These are all materials that, and it's quite a lot of them, 200, 100. These are all materials that you'd be using for other things, like making your weapons or making your bullets, or, you know, getting more shields or trading with traders. So, you know, you're going to have to commit these materials to this project rather than using it to help survive in the game itself. I think they commit and they complete this stage here, and then you'll see that the materials jump up to being something else. So this is really just like a resource sink, but I think how it can work in extraction shooters is for those hardcore players. Like, they're going to have to make decisions on when their resources go. And, like, for example, can I skip? No, I can't. There was batteries in there. I'm pretty sure batteries are used to make your shields. So, you know, you might have to commit your batteries to your expedition rather than having shields. So it might help level the playing field for those other hardcore veteran players. What is kept? What is lost? Right. So what do you keep through an expedition versus what is lost? So now I'm assuming this means once you complete the expedition and then you click like the character reset button, what you lose and what you keep. Players will lose anything inherent to the character's progression, levels, skills, items, inventory, workshop, crafting capabilities, etc. So all the stuff you level up. Okay. Players will keep cosmetics earned and purchased, awards, achievements, rankings, etc. Essentially anything rooted solely in the metagame or involving real money will be preserved. Right. For convenience, after completing an expedition, players will be able to skip the majority of the onboarding and tutorial steps they went through as a new player, this being things like unlocking certain features, maps, etc. I can't remember how the map situation worked in the beta, but I think they just were already unlocked. But this sounds like you'll often they'll put like new players into a new map, like a friendly noob map, and then you unlock other maps as you progress. So seems like if you've unlocked all maps, which you would have at level 20, they're going to remain unlocked. You're not going to have to go through the tutorials again and that kind of stuff. As I play through the early game, these will just be available from the start of a fresh reset. These will just be available. Okay. Now, aside from players who like the thrill of starting fresh, why would you willingly give up all your hard-earned progress incentives? Now, it doesn't really make this clear, but I'm assuming that when you press reset, you're just in normal lobbies. It's not putting you in, you know, expedition project lobbies or reset character lobbies or anything like that. Like, I'm assuming you're disadvantaging yourself to get these benefits, and you're going to be with other people that maybe have been going a little bit slower, but by the time you reset, they're probably going to have some better gear than you. Benefits and incentives, right? We are still finalizing the exact benefits and rewards, but they will generally follow along these lines. Permanent account unlocks for each completed expedition. Don't know what that means. Permanent account unlocks. Unique cosmetic rewards for each completed expedition. This makes me so happy that there is a chase that you can go and get unique cosmetic rewards. They're not going to be in the shop. They're not going to be elsewhere. But if you complete this expedition, you're going to be able to show off that you've actually got something cool from it. I think that is going to be the big incentive and reward for doing this, for disadvantaging. It is, as they say, bragging rights, and mostly centered around cosmetics. They say account buffs that are applied for the duration of the following expedition cycle, and sequential completions of the expedition progress increase the magnitude of these buffs up to a limit. So it did say you can complete multiple projects and do multiple resets, and these buffs are going to change. I don't understand how the account buffs are going to work or the permanent account unlocks, because the next paragraph does say, one point to drive home is that we are being very careful about the nature of these benefits. Completing a reset should never give a player a power or combat advantage over anyone who has not completed a reset. So I don't know how you have a buff that is not an advantage in some way. I'm not too sure. Maybe this a permanent account unlock is like not skins, emblems. I was like, what does Destiny use again? Like an emblem or something like that, right? In their account settings. Initially, these benefits will center around cosmetics and bragging rights, quality of life, and smoothing out some aspects of progression for those who have gone through a reset. Okay, so maybe that's what the buffs are. Like, it's just helping you progress through your traders again, because I imagine there's going to be some pretty lengthy quests in there. Okay, right. What comes next? Well, any and all of this is subject to change between now and launch and post-launch. This is about the shape of it right now. We hope that by making the reset mechanic voluntary, properly incentivized, we can observe two results. I mean, as long as those cosmetics are cool, people will chase it, and I'm very thankful that if you don't have time to complete it, you can go back and complete it later, or you can just keep completing. Your progress is not lost, because I think it kind of would be counterintuitive to have the fear of missing out, add something extra for players to grind, which is just basically a resource sink, and then, you know, once again, the casual players missing out. So that's kind of cool. They hope for these results. Players who are highly engaged can experience the game fresh on a regular cadence while acquiring some benefits. Great. That's the whole point of a wipe, is the game feels fresh again, and they're just giving you some reasons to do it. Players who have less time to dedicate to the game don't have their progress reset outside their control. They are always able to keep moving forward and at their own pace if they choose. Great. It's not a silver bullet, and won't achieve a clean break that a mandatory global reset does, but it does aim to be more equitable to all players. Wherever possible, we want to value time spent in the game as much as you do. Of course, this is a complex topic, so we'll keep an eye on the discussion around this message and follow up as necessary. Thank you for your interest and passion in Arc Raiders. I look forward to seeing you topside, Virgil. I'm glad they're doing something different. This will be the thing that defines the game. Well, actually, there's lots of things that define Arc Raiders, I think, but the wipe and progression and reset is so important. I think what Arc Raiders has done well is they've been really good at trying to cater towards a casual audience in the extraction mode, in the extraction genre, and still give a really good extraction game. For example, some extraction games don't give you a map. They don't show you where you are on the map. They don't let you tag things on the map. You have no idea what, like, bullets go on what. You know, Arc Raiders has really dumbed a lot of those things down to make it really understandable to new players, but it still feels and has the tension of an extraction shooter. And this is another thing that I think, in general, extraction shooters are more like hardcore players. It's like a painful game. It's like liking Souls-likes or From Software stuff where you get stuck on a boss for 2 hours. Like, some people just don't like it. They seem like they're doing a good job taking out some of those pain points without losing that tension. Like, they're giving players who can really spend time in the game, they're giving them something to chase, they're making it unique, but they're also giving the option for casual players to still participate. think you could also argue if you make a game for everyone, you make a game for no one. So it'll be interesting to see how this goes. I don't think that we will see the benefits or the downfalls of this for probably 2 cycles, maybe 8 weeks, 16 weeks. Okay, so yeah, that would make sense for me before we start seeing if it's beneficial or not. Because the real thing is, after the game's been out for like a year and all your mates are playing it, like what is it for a new player to enter? How is it then for a new player to enter? If you have a lot of casual players that have all the gear and they're hoarding all the gear and they're just sitting on the best gear, like does this system still work? Or are those casual players, once they get to the end and they've got everything they want and they feel like they're not done with the game, but maybe it's getting a bit repetitive, maybe then they're choosing to do this expedition and reset. And if you get that happening, you get this nice turnover of voluntary, resets, that could work really well. Right, there you go. Like, comment, and subscribe. We greatly appreciate it. I'm working on some more video essays for you with a bit higher quality and a bit more editing. But until then, I really like Arc Raiders. We'll probably cover it a bit more. And also, I'm having a baby. Well, not me personally. My wife's having a baby next week. So I'll see you when I see you. Bye-bye.